Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing Tea Street. It's so crazy. I didn't plan this mug today, but it absolutely corresponds to the topic today. Today's mug says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Ecclesiastes 3:11. The reason I find it so interesting, I just kind of grabbed a mug out of the cupboard today and was like, whatever I pull is what I'm going to use. And so when I already knew what the topic was, I just now made the correlation between the mug and the topic. Today's topic, and I told you this whole year for me is focused on don't skip the process. When I'm on the road speaking, when I'm doing workshops, the theme this year is don't skip the process. So today I want to talk about don't skip the process of waiting patiently. Now, if you're like me, one of the things I never ask God for is patience. Because when you ask God for something, He gonna give it to you. And the thing that produces patience is sometimes hard. It's a hard season when you have to be patient. But can I tell you, if you skip the period of time where you need to wait patiently, you miss all that is being developed in you in that season. Everything that's happening in that season, you miss it because you're so focused on the next and trying to get there that you miss the lessons, and some might argue the blessings that come in waiting patiently for the next season. I remember a time specifically in my life where I almost missed a very practical lesson. I was working at a program called Village to Child, and I wasn't making a whole lot of money. But I was working very hard. I was working like 60 sometimes some weeks, 70 hours a week. But I wasn't making a lot of money. And at that time, I had a young son. And I wanted to leave. And I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I got this job offer. They're going to pay me $12,000 more than I'm making." And at that time, I didn't realize like how little $12,000 is when you look at it as a wage increase. And something had my mom say to me, "I don't think that you're supposed to leave yet. I think that there's some things that you still need to learn in this season before you can move to the next season." I was very impatient. I was like, "Mom, you don't understand. I can't pay my bills with this amount of money. I can't get my life right. I can't do the things that I want to do in this season because I'm not making enough money." And my mother stopped me very quickly. We were on the phone. And I remember where I was sitting in my office at Ohio Dominican in the little trailer. And my mom said to me, "T, take this season to grow where you have been planted. I want you to type it up big, and I want you to put it on the wall by your computer so that every time you sit at your computer and you're tempted to let your fingers do the walking for $12,000, I want you to think about this moment." And I just believe that I'm supposed to tell you to be patient and learn the things in this season that will prepare you for the next. But you can't be ready for the next. Even if you get there, you will squander it because you missed this season of waiting patiently and doing the work in the waiting. I was thinking to myself, what do you know about this? You sitting at home retired. What you gonna tell me about? But I listened because one of the things I never knew my mom to do is to speak without really hearing from God. So I got patient and I started waiting. And in that year, I learned how to write grants. I wrote a big grant, the first one I had ever gotten, big grant. I got the grant. In that season, I learned how to create and execute a budget. I learned some things that prepared me for my next. 1 year later, excuse me, almost to the date, I got a call telling me that I was going to interview for the director of education position for the mayor of my city. I had no idea that the things that I had learned in that season would prepare me for my next. When I got the next job a year later, all of the things that I learned, budgeting, grant writing, fundraising, all of those things that I learned in that season were necessary, and I was able to show them as outcomes for my next in my interview. And so you know what? in that season of waiting patiently and learning and doing the work in the waiting, it truly did set me up for my next, because when I got that next job, it more than doubled the salary that I had been making in the job that I wanted to jump from just a year earlier. I want to encourage you. Don't skip the process of waiting patiently. Do the work while you're in the waiting. There's a young person in my life who is so dope. He doesn't even get how dope he is. He really wants to be a podcaster. And so we've been talking about getting him a podcast going, buying him some equipment, all of the things, but he couldn't wait. And so during the holidays, I was going through some stuff and I saw some videos that he had made out here trying to get fame, because he skipped the process of waiting patiently and doing the work on himself so that he could truly have a good product of which he could be proud. But instead, he's now producing crazy videos of him and his friends doing dumb things that won't produce the kind of outcomes that he wants for his life. So we're having this conversation about don't skip the process of waiting patiently. Can I just tell you the same thing is true for all of you who are tuning in? There's something to be learned in the process of waiting patiently, because the lessons that you learn here will set you up well for the next season. But don't skip the process. Getting there fast doesn't mean it's going to last. Good morning, Katina. You know what? I'm the Amazing T Street, but can I tell you something? There's absolutely, positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So don't skip the process of waiting patiently. Do the work in the wait. Have an amazing day.